You're watching WB17. Inquirer News tonight. Tomorrow's news now.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Margie Smith.
And I'm Jim Sinkevitz. Our top story tonight, an end to the standoff in Newtown Square.
Millionaire John DuPont, an heir to the DuPont chemical fortune, is in police custody tonight, charged with first-degree murder. He was captured by members of a police SWAT team when he stepped outside his mansion to work on his hot water heater. Police had turned off the heat Friday night. Authorities say DuPont was not armed when taken into custody and no one was injured. His arrest brings to an end a tense standoff that started Friday after he allegedly shot and killed Olympic wrestling gold medalist Dave Schultz. Our Wendy Dockenbaugh was there when the siege came to an end. She's live tonight outside the Delaware County Jail with the latest. Wendy, can you tell us what's going on out there in Delaware County?
The standoff ended almost exactly 48 hours after it began, and just about as bizarrely, after holding police at bay for so long, John DuPont walked out of his house unarmed, not to surrender, but to check his hot water heater. Tonight he's being held at the Delaware County Prison on a long list of charges, the most serious being the murder of Olympic wrestler David Schultz.
John DuPont appeared at his arraignment looking dejected and tired. The heir to the vast chemical company fortune said nothing as the district justice told him his rights and said there would be no bail.
It was an extremely trying and difficult situation.
At a press briefing, police detailed how they brought the standoff to a successful close. SWAT teams entered tunnels under the 800-acre estate Friday night to restore phone service lost at the mansion during a November fire. While underground, police shut off the boilers as well. The mansion had no heat, and John DuPont, it seems, was getting cold.
Mr. DuPont stated that he was going out to fix his boilers, and he was arrested at that time.
Tackled by one fast police officer hiding in the nearby woods. Authorities say DuPont was not armed at the time and offered no resistance. DuPont spent 2 full days holed up in his home, all the while having what police describe as cordial conversations with negotiators. The affidavit for arrest says the victim's wife, Nancy Schultz, witnessed the shooting and hugged her husband, David, as he died.
If you don't have media credentials, please leave this intersection now.
At 2 o'clock this afternoon, the first sign the situation was nearing an end. The press and the curious public in place for 47 long hours were forced back by police.
Come on, let's go, folks. We have got to get totally off of this property. There's a very good reason you must leave.
A short time later, DuPont was escorted off the estate in a black armored van. The bomb squad went in to check for booby traps before police could search for the murder weapon, a .38 caliber revolver, and authorities were congratulating themselves on a job well done.
There were no shots fired, and no one was injured. I call that a very successful resolution.
John DuPont is being held in solitary confinement here at the prison. His preliminary hearing is set for first thing Thursday morning. At that point, authorities may reveal a possible motive for this crime. Live at the Delaware County Prison, I'm Wendy Dockenbaugh. Back to you.
All right, Wendy, thank you. Well, DuPont's capture this afternoon came as a great relief to the family of the man he's accused of killing. The widow of wrestler Dave Schultz met with reporters shortly after DuPont's arrest. Our Sue Clark has that story.
Our family is devastated and saddened by Dave's brutal and unexpected loss.
Nancy Schultz never thought her 14-year marriage would end this way. Her husband was in the prime of his wrestling career. Her children, 9-year-old Alexander and 6-year-old Gabrielle, now fatherless, just stared into a sea of cameras as their mother explained she had no answers to why this tragedy occurred.
While I have no idea why John committed the senseless and brutal killing of my husband, I am confident that the police and the authorities will conduct a thorough investigation and bring him to justice.
These were happier times. Dave with his brother Mark after they both won gold medals in 1984. Dave and Nancy just before they were married in 1982. Their last moments together were filled with fear, shock, and disbelief.
A husband and a father to you for your children and dying in your arms. That's a very tragic thing. Very tragic thing.
Police haven't determined a motive, but DuPont's friends have their suspicions.
Power. You know, he liked to control people.
Kubo says DuPont financed his wrestling career, and Schultz was his idol, his mentor. But over the last year, he says DuPont changed. He remembered having this conversation with him.
He saw faces in the wall, and he told me to look, did I see him? And I said, no, I didn't see him. And he saw animals in his bed, and he, you know, and he carried a gun, and he had loaded bullets all the time. And I became a little paranoid to be around the guy.
Police say DuPont had a TV inside but didn't bother to watch it. A lot of people, though, were watching him. Dozens of curiosity seekers showed up outside his estate to see how the ordeal would play out. Nevin and Bob Kramer brought their own video camera.
The man has everything he could ever possibly want in this world, and yet to go ahead and do something like this, it's just puzzling. He has everything, and now maybe nothing.
And everybody, including the Schultz family, is struggling to understand why. In Newtown Square, Sue Clark, Inquirer News Tonight.
During the standoff, police rejected dozens of offers to help with the negotiations with DuPont. Even televangelist Robert Schuller, a longtime DuPont friend, used his Hour of Power television program today to tell DuPont he got a message from God that God wanted him to surrender.
Tell him, John, that his mother loves him and wants him to just lay down those weapons. Open the front door, raise both hands, and walk between those pillars. And do it now.
DuPont was a viewer of Schuller's TV show, and the two became friends in the mid-1980s. There is no indication that DuPont ever heard the Reverend's message.
Well, our other top story tonight, Super Bowl 30. For a change, it wasn't all over by halftime. For the first time in a couple of years, the millions who tuned in to the annual football classic were treated to a pretty good game, at least until the last 3 minutes anyway.
Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, after the game, the Cowboys victorious for the third time in 4 years, said this was the one that was the most special because they actually had to work for it. Remember, the other two were blowout games, and Dallas gets it done this time the hard way. Eagles fans don't want to hear it, but the Dallas Cowboys are the NFL's newest dynasty. Back in the 1970s and the early 80s, the Steelers won 4 Super Bowls in a 6-year span. The current Cowboys have achieved a similar feat. Today, they win their 3rd title in 4 years. They get it done at Sun Devil Stadium in Tempe, Arizona. But the Steelers, as I said, made them work for it. Cowboys get some nice play out of two-way player Deion Sanders. First quarter making things happen. 48-yard reception from Troy Aikman. Cowboys were already up 3-0 at this point. A few plays after the Deion play, touchdown time. Aikman, the Jay Novacek, 10-0 game, 13-7 at the half. We go to the 4th, 20-10 Cowboys. Right after a Steelers field goal, onside kick. Deion Figures recovers after a gutsy call. And then the same drive, Neil O'Donnell to give to Bam Morris, touchdown. And it's a tight one, 20-17 Dallas in the 4th. Steelers had a chance to win it. Down by 3, 4 minutes to go. O'Donnell gets picked off. Game most valuable player, Larry Brown, returns at 34 yards. That sets up another Dallas TD, and the Cowboys go on to win it. 27-17 is the final 12th straight Super Bowl loss for the AFC teams. And here to talk about it, the guy that's been here all season long for us, our football analyst, Gary Cobb. Gary, let's talk about some of the key plays in this game that gives Dallas the victory today.
Well, one big play, of course, was you saw Michael Irvin finally called for a pass interference penalty, and it happened in the first half. It was a big play. As you can see here, what happened, you had the throw. Irvin catches the ball, catches it from Aikman, spikes the ball. But here, take a look at his right hand on Cornell Lake's back. He subtly pulls him down to the ground. That's the reason he made the catch. And you can take a look at it again. Very subtle, great call here by the ref that they were able to pick it up. This is the first time I've seen Michael Irvin called for a pass interference penalty. We should really see more of that because he gets away with it. The big plays, though, in the game were clearly Larry Brown in the second half. He was the game's MVP, and well, he should have been. But really, honestly, he's got to thank Neil O'Donnell. Here's the first pick. Hits him right in the gut. Now, that was just a bad pass. The receiver was wide open, but he hit Larry Brown. Larry Brown takes it down. This led to a touchdown for Dallas. You can see him circle down there. And this, he just threw the ball behind the receiver. The receiver's wide open there. You can see Larry Brown's out there by himself, catches the ball. He gets it all the way down inside the 10-yard line. That was a big play. And then he does it again. This is another interception by Larry Brown. This set up really the touchdown that clinched it. Again, this was a misread by O'Donnell, and really, I don't think there was a game MVP so much as a game GOAT. And the GOAT horns, unfortunately, are on Neil O'Donnell. So that's what happened, and you could take it again, Mike.
Okay, thank you very much to Gary Cobb. Live in the newsroom, Larry Brown, the most valuable player with the 2 clutch interceptions, and the Cowboys able to overcome that pass interference, the offensive pass interference against Michael Irvin there in the first half. More on the big game. Bill Lyon joins us live from Arizona coming up a little bit later on in sports, guys.
All right, Mike.
Thanks,
okay.
Mike. Well, all over the Delaware Valley, people parked in front of their TV sets to enjoy Super Sunday. Dan Fiorucci was on hand as the excitement began to simmer, literally.
Unless you're really fond of swimming in boiling oil, Super Sunday is probably a bad day to be a chicken.
Okay, who else is here for a pickup?
The Coop in Voorhees sold 79,000 chicken wings for Super Bowl parties last year. Today, they expected to sell more than 100,000.
This is the busiest Super Bowl we've had since we've opened 6 years ago. We can't keep up with it. I mean, I got fryers cooking here. I have fryers at other places where they're bringing us wings, and we're unable to handle the volume.
And as the hour drew close to game time, some folks found themselves unable to handle the pressure.
Oh, my God.
But then again, this was Super Sunday, and a lot was at stake.
With someone at work, I have a big rivalry, Dallas and Eagles. Yeah, so whenever Dallas plays anyone, I'd like them to lose.
And she wasn't alone. With a Pennsylvania team in the Super Bowl, lots of folks found themselves rooting for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Go Flyers!
A few wanted the Flyers, but they were big underdogs. Of course, not everyone was thrilled with the game. At Penn's Landing, some folks took advantage of the fact that the ice was a bit emptier tonight than on most weekends.
I could care less, really. I mean, you know, who wants to watch barbarians fight over the ball?
Evidently, a lot of people. Each year, the Super Bowl pulls in about 100 million viewers. At Penn's Landing, Dan Fiorucci, Enquirer News Tonight.
Barbarians, huh?
Oh, is there ever a good day to be a chicken?
Coming up on Enquirer News Tonight, the latest on the condition of the surviving Siamese twin a day after surgery.
Plus, yesterday he was a 4-year-old living in Seattle. Today he's the spiritual leader of hundreds of Buddhist monks. Find out why next.
If you've loved what Toyota's done in the past, you'll really love what's new.
And right now, that means new ways to save on every Toyota, especially Corolla. Roll into the new year with a $189 a month lease. Now that's a price you can really fall for. Or take 2.9 financing on a new Corolla. Or 2.9 on the affordable Tercel, too.
It's a new year, and you're going to love what's new at your Toyota dealer.
Come see for yourself. Hurry to your Toyota dealer today.
I saw this Christian Dior suit at Today's Man, only $2.99. Perfect. So then the sales guy says I can get any other specially tagged suit of the same price free. I chose a Halston. It's buy one, get one free. And it's not just suits. It's sport coats, dress slacks, shirts.
Computech is your complete superstore for all your computer and electronic needs at discount prices. See our ad in today's Enquirer and Monday's Daily News. Computech, Kings Highway, Maple Shade, New Jersey. From the crime to the conviction.
You killed those kids.
Get the whole story behind some of the country's toughest cases.
We were not going to let up.
On America's Most Wanted, Final Justice.
Weeknights at 11:30 on WB 17.
The critics are calling the new series Savannah sexy, sultry, and addictive. Savannah has the steam, scandal, and Southern hospitality that hits are made of. February 4th, Savannah, the one-hour series debuts.
Sunday at 9 on WB 17.
An elderly woman is injured in a fire that destroyed her Delaware home today. It happened just after 11 o'clock this morning here along Paper Mill Road in Newark. The woman suffered smoke inhalation and remains hospitalized tonight. The cause of the blaze is under investigation.
In Bucks County, police have uncovered the remains of what appears to be part of a child or small woman. A hiker stumbled onto a bag of clothes today in Core Creek Park, then spotted the remains of a human foot. Investigators discovered more bones in a plastic bag buried just a few feet away in a shallow grave. The district attorney says there are a lot of unanswered questions.
Not far from the remains
was found a bag of clothing, which appear to be female, small in size. Whether or not they're related to the body has yet to be determined.
Investigators say the remains will be tested to determine the age of the victim. The case is not being called a homicide at this point.
A 21-year-old Southwest Philadelphia man is under arrest and charged with gunning down another man on the crowded L train last night. Police say Kayaba Bradley was arrested tonight at his workplace. 26-year-old Denton Taylor of South Fraser Street died last night after he was shot once in the chest. Police say Bradley boarded the westbound Market Frankfurt L at the 40th Street stop, opened fire on Taylor, then fled the train, leaving the shotgun behind. Taylor was pronounced dead at the scene. Fortunately, no one else was injured. Authorities in Waterville, Maine say a man who attacked a group of elderly nuns last night, killing 2 of them, had a history of mental illness. Police say the 37-year-old suspect broke into the convent just after evening prayer service. He attacked the nuns with a knife and beat them with a statue. Police captured him in the act. 2 of the nuns died overnight, and the 2 others remain hospitalized in serious condition. Police say the suspect had previously worshipped at the chapel and had a history of criminal activity and mental illness. He's being held without bail on murder charges.
Today was the deadliest day so far for the NATO peacekeeping mission in Bosnia. 3 British soldiers were killed when their vehicle hit a landmine. A Swedish soldier died when his armored personnel carrier skidded off a road, and a U.S. Army officer was injured after being grazed by a sniper's bullet. Meanwhile, the 3 warring factions continue to swap POWs. Hundreds of prisoners were released this weekend. The POW exchange, however, is a week behind schedule, and all 3 sides are still holding prisoners. Israeli police used tear gas, clubs, and water cannons to break up a violent demonstration today outside the Prime Minister's office. At least 30 policemen and 17 demonstrators were injured when thousands of Ethiopian Jews stormed the office. They were protesting Israel's policy of throwing away their blood donations for fear of AIDS contamination. Israel's blood bank claims Ethiopians have a 50 times higher chance of being infected with the AIDS virus than the general population. Prime Minister Shimon Peres says he will investigate the policy.
Meanwhile, in Tel Aviv, the defense team of confessed Yitzhak Rabin assassin Yigal Amir is unraveling tonight. One of his attorneys withdrew from the case, saying he did not want to hurt Amir's chances for a fair trial. He also said he was having differences over strategy with Amir's other lawyer. The trial continued today with an unusual twist. Amir himself cross-examined several prosecution witnesses. The prosecution is expected to wrap up its case tomorrow.
Doctors in San Diego say the baby girl who survived a 6-hour operation yesterday to be separated from her Siamese twin is hanging in there. 16-day-old Sarah Morales is in critical but stable condition tonight, breathing with the help of a ventilator. She and her sister were born joined at the chest and abdomen, sharing one liver. Sarahi, the weaker of the 2 twins, died yesterday shortly after surgery.
The family is still grieving. The father seems to be doing much better this morning. Mom still is in somewhat of a degree of shock.
Sarah will spend the next few weeks in intensive care. Doctors say she's not out of the woods yet.
A 4-year-old Seattle boy became one of Nepal's most important spiritual leaders today. Takula is believed to be the reincarnation of a high Buddhist monk who died in Seattle 9 years ago. This was his 3rd visit to Nepal, but this time he's apparently here to stay. He was declared leader of this Tibetan monastery today. He seems unfamiliar but excited with his newfound power. Takula's mother says she had visions during her pregnancy and received other signs that her child would be the reincarnation. Takula will study a range of subjects, including medicine and metaphysics. But first, he has to learn the language.
Up next on Enquirer News tonight, hundreds gather at Cape Canaveral on the anniversary of the Challenger explosion to honor the astronauts who lost their lives.
Also, we'll continue our special report on the Challenger accident, a behind-the-scenes look at how it happened.
And a bitter cold Arctic air mass headed in. Details in the Arctic front coming up in weather.
Paul Revere sold a bike in the Chester County Mainline Enquirer Classifieds. Took the money, bought a horse, and sounded the alarm. 3 lines, 2 days, $5. Call 215-563-5000.
I am a TV. You can watch cartoons on me. I'm a vacuum cleaner. I clean up stuff that's on the floor. I am a telephone. If you have MCI's friends and family, you can use me to save on every long-distance call. You save on all your calls all the time.
So proud of her.
MCI's friends and family. Real savings, real simple.
Ben Franklin sold a toy train set in the Bucks County Enquirer Classifieds. Took the money, bought a kite, and discovered electricity. 3 lines, 2 days, $5. Call 215-563-5000.
One good cop.
Want to put him under a bus. They tried to kill me.
Never stops fighting.
This guy was too good.
One good cop.
Just took his wife and kids hostage.
Never stops trying.
We gotta take these guys out.
One good cop.
I don't care how you feel. You kill a cop.
Never stops caring.
One of my best men.
Michael Keaton.
Stay right there.
Rene Rousseau.
You fought for the people that you loved.
One good cop. Monday at 8 on WB 17. Tuesdays at 8, he's an outlaw chasing outlaws. A fugitive framed for a murder he didn't commit.
I can't help wondering what life is like for you out there.
I get by.
Lorenzo Lamas is the renegade. And at 9, he's a martial arts master.
I am fine.
Who knows how to get his kicks. Kung Fu, the legend continues. Tough guys doing tough jobs every Tuesday beginning at 8 on WB 17.
Hundreds of people gathered at Kennedy Space Center today for a ceremony honoring the 7 astronauts of the Space Shuttle Challenger who died 10 years ago today.
I'm certain that if those who have made the supreme sacrifice were here today, each and every one of them would be pleased that their footsteps are being followed and their hopes and dreams are marching forward.
The mood was somber and reflective, especially for family and friends of the fallen astronauts. It's been a decade since they stood near this very same spot at Cape Canaveral, the day the Challenger was forever etched in the American psyche. The astronauts were remembered today as pioneers who bravely challenged our global boundaries.
When the Challenger exploded 10 years ago, the impression was that the crew perished in the fireball. Evidence that's emerged since then suggests otherwise. In part 2 of his series on the Challenger accident riding the stack, Dan Fiorucci reports that NASA believes at least some of the astronauts died not in the explosion, but on ocean impact.
Engines beginning throttling down now at 94%.
It is a horrible moment burned in the memory. The moment Challenger and her crew were lost.
We'll throttle down to 65% shortly.
3 at 65.
65. Fido.
TDL confirms throttles.
Thank you.
Challenger, go at throttle up.
Roger, go at throttle up.
Flight GC, we've had negative contact, lost downlink.
Okay, all operators, watch your data carefully.
Flight Fido.
Go ahead.
RSO reports vehicle exploded.
Copy. Fido, can we get any reports from recovery forces?
Stand by.
JC, all operators, contingency procedures in effect. Okay, everybody, stay off the telephones. Make sure you maintain all your data. Start pulling it together.
In the terrible stunned seconds immediately following the accident, few realized the full horror for the Challenger crew. A tracking camera later showed that the crew compartment had come out of the explosion as a single unit, allowing the astronauts to survive that explosion, only to suffer an awful 2-minute, 45-second plunge to Earth. Here the compartment is seen in the center of the screen with its nose down, headed toward the Atlantic Ocean. After this frame, it quickly becomes distant and indistinct.
Flight controllers here looking very carefully at the situation. Obviously a major malfunction.
No one can say for sure if any crew member remained conscious throughout the entire fall, though some astronauts strapped inside the doomed crew compartment had turned on and breathed much of their personal emergency air supplies.
The possibility does exist that crew members could have been able to survive until impact.
We could not exclude that possibility with definite data.
The reason no one can exclude the chance that the crew survived for up to 3 minutes past the explosion is this. Each astronaut had enough emergency air fed to his helmet to last until ocean impact. And at least 2 crew members had breathed away most of that 5-minute air supply.
There were 2 of the air packs on which the pressure gauges were recovered. The position of the needle was between 1/8 and 1/4 full. That is between 3/4 and 7/8 used.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, green light.
As a result of the Challenger accident, NASA is now issuing parachutes to astronauts.
All clear.
But the new escape system has a drawback. It can only be used if the shuttle is in stable, gliding flight.
Big smiles today. Confidently getting into the van.
Such a rudimentary escape system would not have helped the Challenger astronauts. Their crew compartment was spinning so violently, it's doubtful they could have unbuckled from their seats and made it to the spacecraft hatch. 3, 2, 1, and liftoff. 10 years after Challenger, the pivotal event for any crew is still solid rocket booster separation 2 minutes into flight.
Roger, separation. Looks good.
No abort is possible until then. On special assignment, Dan Fiorucci, Enquirer News Tonight.
When we return, a look at the weather with meteorologist Larry Cosgrove.
And later in the hour, here's a guy who doesn't clown around. He's got the cheeriest basement in town.
Plus, can't decide whether to work out or clean the house? Do both at the same time. We'll show how in our Helpline segment.
This portion of the Enquirer News Tonight is brought to you by your local Dodge dealers. Dodge, the more things change, the more they look like the new Dodge.
Michelangelo sold a floor sander in the Montgomery County Enquirer Classifieds. Took the money.